Hi everyone. Today we have with us Devesh Khandelwal and Ekamjot Singh Bagga from Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law, who have emerged as the runners-up negotiating pair at the third NALSAR Mediation Tournament 2024, hosted by the NALSAR University of Law, Hyderabad. I am very glad you could join us here to talk about your competition journey. I request you to please introduce yourselves before we begin talking about the competition.
Right. So, hi Niharika. Hi everyone. I am Devesh Khandelwal. I am a fourth year student here at RGNUL, and I was the client for that competition. Oh, sorry, the counsel for that competition, and I'm really excited for this interview.
Hello everyone. Thank you Niharika for having us today. My name is Ekamjot Singh Bagga and I'm a fourth year law student here at RGNUL. And I was the client in the third NALSAR National Mediation Tournament. Thank you for having us.
So to begin with, what can you tell us about the structure of this competition? So now we know about your rules. What can you tell about the structure of this competition in brief?
Okay. Do I start with it, Devesh? If it's fine.
Yeah, please take.
Yeah. So the beauty of this competition was it was very different compared to other mediation tournaments. So this competition, so most competitions have a general information and the confidential information that you're given just prior to a round. But in this competition, we just had a brief background, which was like a 1.5 page GI, you can say it. And it was just a 1.5 page background. And then there was rolling CI. So before every competition, you had a confidential information. And for the next competition, the first confidential information and second, and so on were to be used in every round. It had 3 prelim rounds. And yeah, that's all about it. Devesh, if you'd like to add something to it or maybe explain what the brief background was about.
Right. So very eloquently put forward by Ekamjot. But yeah, so that was the beauty of it because you see, you could use the information from the previous round in your next round as well. So that made a lot of difference. For example, in our finals, we had to use all the CIs and GIs, whatever we had in all the previous rounds, to actually understand what kind of general information we were given for our finals. So in that sense, that competition was very different. Also, I think that other than that, it was pretty much straightforward. We had prelims, we had two prelims, and then they had quarters and semifinals. Sorry, directly semifinals, and then the finals. Yeah,
We had
so
3
that was
prelims.
different.
Just to correct it, we had 3 prelims.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
So, what was your preparation strategy for the competition? So, how did you prepare for it beforehand, individually and as a team?
Right. So I think I'll take that. So basically, Niharika, first of all, like Ekam said, we were given only a brief background. There was no general information per se, on which we could really like strategize or something. But from that general information that we were given, we could understand that conflict of laws was something that was going to be incorporated in all our rounds. And so, from an individual perspective, me being the client, I read basic theories of conflict of laws, like how territoriality or how nationality, how these things matter in deciding the laws of a place. Secondly, as a team, I think the most important preparation for any mediation competition, be it, is that we need to have a chemistry. We need to have a communication that may not be apparent to the other person. For that, like me and Ekam, we like to use a piece of paper and keep it in front of us on the table, and we use different pictorial things to communicate with each other during the round. So that is one thing that we do. Other than that, I think another thing that is important that you get through by doing multiple rounds, practice rounds, is that you need to trust your partner. You need to know when, if he's accepting an offer, or if he's going to make an offer, you need to trust him that there is some reasoning behind it, because otherwise you may get into a place where there's a conflict between your teammate and you. So that is one thing that needs to be kept in mind. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing for
Adding to
preparation.
what Devesh said, so he very rightly explained what the role of a council was in that competition. For me, because the brief background told us that it is a mediation between between two Greek gods, and the demigods being their councils. So all I knew was that I was supposed to be some Greek god, not very sure which Greek god I was supposed to be. So it was a very fun preparation strategy for me because what I did was I just listed down all the Greek gods that there were and with their basic personality things like perhaps the goddess of love, how she used to talk, the way they used to talk, some very important phrases that they used, some personality traits that you could use in the rounds. That is also one of the reasons I think that we excelled, because we knew what the personality trait was. We
Right.
knew how the client was supposed to behave in the
Right.
competition.
That's a really
Yeah.
smart strategy, yes. So,
Right.
in a mediation competition, it becomes very important for you to call in the mediator at the right time, even when you briefly sense a deadlock. So, how did you handle such situations?
So,
Right.
in most,
Ekam, please.
yeah, I'll answer it briefly and then you can add to it, Devesh. So, I'll be very honest, in most mediations, the mediators are smart enough to know when there is a deadlock and when they're supposed to enter. But what fetches you marks is that teamwork is also something that fetches you marks. Even though it is a competition, the other party is your competitor, but teamwork, having everyone inside a mediation, inside that transaction that you're holding, everyone being involved, asking people their questions, XYZ, things like that also matters a lot. That fetches you marks. So, bringing in mediator when needed, when there's a doubt, asking the other party what the doubt is, maybe asking the mediator to explain what the doubt was, and other strategies where Devesh would elaborate on that.
Right, right. So I think it's important to know when to call a caucus as well, right? Because there may be, see, there is intensity of deadlocks. It may be a very important thing because it might be that you're going in circles again and again. At such a point, you obviously need a private caucus, but sometimes there may be just a small disagreement, or you can sense that it is something that you can solve by offering something to the other party. So in those cases, it's easier if you just use the mediator, in the sense that you ask him to make use like for in a competition, you were provided a board. Like, so at multiple points, Ekam and I told the mediator to write down our offer on the board, because sometimes it's happened that the offer is so technical or there are so many things in that, and active listening is something that you have to do. And there may be a point where other party was not able to follow up on what you were saying. So having that kind of facility of a board or the mediator, it helps you a lot. So I think that is how you use the mediator perfectly to fetch marks and to win a competition.
Right.
There's one specific instance that I remember.
Yes.
I think it was the semi-finals round, if I'm not sure. So our CI and the other party CI was stark different. We had no idea what the other party CI was, and we had no idea what the other party was saying, for that matter, honestly, for the first few minutes. So how we brought in the mediators in that round was, we just asked the mediator if you could just make a structure on the board and help us understand what the issue is. Instead of asking questions to and fro, you just ask the mediator that you perhaps make a broad chart of what is being told and what all are the offers, so that both the parties understand it better, and the mediator is also doing his role in that part. So some things like this.
So, like you said, negotiating parties get too swayed up sometimes by the discussion and forget to call in the mediator at the right time. It is about volunteering the mediator to come in. So, how do you suggest negotiating parties should be mindful of this to not fall in this trap and include the mediator by themselves, volunteering him to come in instead of him dropping in?
So here I'd like to mention something, that it is very important to know what the role division is. A client should know when he's supposed to speak, and the counsel should know when he's supposed to speak. And when there is a doubt, it is not the client or counsel that comes up and clears the doubt. It is a mediator who's supposed to come in and perhaps provide some clarity. So being clear of what the role division is would help you excel in a competition. What most people have in mind is, the more you speak, you win the competition. That is definitely not the strategy you should have. It is not about speaking more, it is about speaking what is right and at the right time.
So, the confidential information of the other parties, like you said in your case, often springs very unexpected surprises for you. So, how do you think, as negotiating parties, you should tackle such situations?
Right. So I think, of course, there are times when the confidential information of both the parties create such a situation when there is no ZOPA, basically a zone of possible agreement. So in such cases, it's really important that you listen to the other party, and you find the right time. Again, mediator becomes very important at this point, because you have to know when to call a private caucus. because in such situations that makes all the difference. You have to call a private caucus, you have to discuss a mediator, because obviously if you are feeling that there is no zopa, then you have to discuss it with the other people, because then only you can get up with an innovative solution. So for that, I think in such situations it's very important to listen to the other party, because you will get to know that what is their main objective. Sometimes they have certain CI, but the objective behind that CI is what they need to achieve, not the CI per se. So if you know the objective, then you can probably find some innovative solution through which both the parties can have a win-win situation.
Absolutely. So what can you say was the one learning you took back home from the competition?
And learning.
So there's one learning that I took back from this competition. It's a little funny. So when traveling to Hyderabad, and in case you're visiting NALSAR, never go through the city. Always take the outer ring road because it saves you time.
That's an
In
important.
addition to that, just have fun. Competition is not about winning or losing. It's a very subjective thing. Every competition is very subjective. But you getting to go to a new city, exploring that new city is what matters more. So I and Devesh had this in mind that in case you don't get through the prelims, next day we're going to this place having this biryani and having fun at this place. So we had it very clear that in case we go through, in case we don't, we'll still party. So it's more about having fun than just about winning or losing. It's more about having fun.
Right. And I think you have to make a competition a learning process. One thing I would say is that with every round you have to learn. You have to see what the other college people from other college are doing. That is something that I took from that competition, because I was able to learn a lot from this competition. You have to see what kind of strategies they are deploying for their negotiation pair, and even from mediators, you find that people after every round people give you feedback, not just judges, but people the other party also gives you feedback. So those things they help you. So I think that is another learning that you could take away.
Adding to what Devesh said, you have to keep this in mind that whenever you're in a competition, the other party is not your competitor. You have to listen very actively. So imagine going to a place and meeting people from n number of colleges and from n number of countries. It's not every day you get to have that. So enjoy, talk to people, have fun. At the end of the day, that is what you'll remember, not what round it was and how you won or how you lost.
So, apart from that, what advice would you give to the students aspiring to participate in these competitions? So it could be a general advice or some mistake that you think they should avoid.
Right.
Should I go with
So I
Devesh
think,
first? Oh, please,
yeah.
please.
First of all, I think one of the most important things for participating in a mediation or negotiation competition is that you have to choose a partner very carefully. Because I think that one of the reasons why because Ekam and I, we have done a lot of competitions together, and we have that kind of trust in each other. Like I mentioned before, also in such competitions, things are very impromptu. You have to be very spontaneous, and for that, you need to have your partner needs to have your back. So I think you make things up as you go along in such competitions, and therefore choosing the right negotiating pair, choosing the right partner is very important. Other than that, I think one mistake, I think in this competition at least there was not a really big mistake, because in this competition we didn't have to prepare a lot. It was a very impromptu competition. But other than that, I have done certain competitions where a lot of preparation was needed. Like, so you don't keep this in your mind, don't make it idea that in mediation competitions you don't have to prepare. Every competition is different. You have to analyze the GI. You have to see that what kind of expectation is there from the judges and from the organizers in regards to your competition. So yeah, I think that is one thing.
Yeah, just adding to what Devesh said, although it is very important to prepare in competitions, but there's one thing that I see that people prepare a certain set of speech and then they expect and they try to just go and give that speech. That is not what mediations are. You're supposed to be smart enough to know when and how to change your speech, because it's an impromptu competition at the end of the day. You cannot prepare it all at once. You have to try and edit it in a way that it suits the competition. Secondly, just keep your calm. Be very calm. You're here to have fun. Just it's a learning experience. In case a random thing springs up and you're like, oh my god, what is happening here? That is not what you should do. You should be very calm. Answer very calmly. It's not about winning or losing at the end of the day. And the third thing that I would like to say is, a lot of people think that if they're not good mooters or not good debaters, they shouldn't go for such competitions. I would say just go, just try it out. It's a learning experience. I wasn't a good debater in my school time, I'll be very honest. But I did moots, I did mediation competitions, and I've done well. It's all about trusting yourself at the end of the day.
Thank you, team, for the very insightful session. I'm sure it is going to be of great help to all the competition aspirants watching it. I, on behalf of ILCC, wish you all the very best for your journey ahead. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having us.